Now that I've finally beaten it and hopefully preempted the flood of get goods from the comments, I can finally talk about the Ringed City, because I'm a tidbit invested in how the final installment of my favorite game trilogy turned out. And if you don't want to be spoiled, then I don't know what to tell you. You can only access the Ringed City after beating the Twin Princes or the previous DLC, and that's on purpose because the Ringed City is hard. Like, really hard. They cranked up the difficulty as if they wanted to leave players with a challenge that felt insurmountable. And I think they accomplished this in some good ways and some bad ways. For instance, the run from the Dreg Heaps down to the actual Ringed City is an amazing run. The angels, the crawling dudes, the swamp, the tree guys, they all create a very interesting relationship between the player and the Y-axis. The whole run is peppered with these long vertical drops that test your willingness to read messages on the ground.
I'd always trust the guy wearing an ominous hood pointing down,
I guess. And you have to continue focusing downward to avoid these guys who bubble out of the ground. They even placed a spellcaster at a lower elevation to you so that you're more likely to notice these guys before there are enough of them to completely overrun you. These big tree fuckers are a challenge to take down because they have an awkwardly staggered dodge timing to their tells. Unless, of course, you hit them with a plunging attack. Or do this. Yeah, I guess that works too. Anyway, you'll get a chance to familiarize yourself with them if you fully explore this area before taking this plunge, subtly enforcing the benefits of looking up every once in a while. But perhaps a bit too subtly, because after a while of focusing on the ground, you haven't even considered looking at the sky, which is when you get blindsided by an angel with this holy Gatling gun. Thankfully, there's a lot of cover around. Less thankfully, there's this motherfucker. You're like, what? I have to look up and down at the same time? I didn't sign up for this. And that comes to a head when you get to the first of 2 swamps in the DLC. Yeah, I know, 2 swamps. It can't all be good, shut the fuck up. But the first swamp is a brilliant area because you've been looking up and down for so long that you completely forget about left and right, so you'll be avoiding angels while making it quickly through the swamp to avoid getting poisoned, and then you'll spot this guy. You're like, oh look, a gank. How original. Oh fuck! Ah! Fuck! Left and right! So you start to panic roll out of the cover of the branches, and then the angel's gonna fuck your shit up. So now you have to look in all directions at all times. I can't recall an area of Souls that forced this type of challenge on you. And of course you can mitigate some of the challenge of subsequent runs by finding these things and killing them, but honestly, why would you want to? And then later on, we get to the... Oh no. Oh, fuck. Okay. Damn it. Oh no, this is simple. Shit! Oh. Fuck you! Fuck! Oh. Ah, I see. Oh, fuck you! Alright, let's just try this again. Shit! Okay, so I just have to make sure to get my hits in when the arrow guys aren't there. Oh, god damn it! Oh, come on, just die, you fuck you, son of a bitch, yeah! He respawns? What the hell? Okay, let's never speak of this area again.
But why didn't you just run past him?
The rest of the DLC's level design is good enough, but unremarkable. The areas are a bit ganky, but am I even allowed to say that after fucking ganks McGee over here? Oh my god, there's another one? You know, it's a good excuse to get good at fighting multiple enemies. Then there are some annoying curse tunnels, which are an absolute bitch with low damage. Or just low accuracy. There's some fucking gorgeous views everywhere in this DLC. There's a bridge where a dragon breathes fire on you, and a place with stairs. Can we talk about the bosses now? Now there are 4 bosses in this DLC, and one of them was a PvP boss, a la the old monk from Demon Souls. It was a little disappointing because I went up against some like glass cannon bitch and I totally demolished him with my follower saber. Oh fuck, I said I used the follower saber. Oh god, the get goods are back. Hey, okay, look, in my defense, I'm on New Game Plus 2. And the first boss is honestly a rival to Ormstein and Smo as far as double boss fight goes. But honestly, I'm not articulate or motivated enough to say why with any degree of confidence. After playing Dark Souls 1 so many times, ONS have kind of lost their luster, and these guys are just a completely new and different challenge. So maybe after I fight these guys 100+ times, I'll feel differently. But what I really want to talk about are the final 2 bosses in this DLC. And they are without a doubt the 2 hardest fights I have ever experienced in a Souls game for very different reasons. Now, I'm not being petty when I say this, but Dark Eater Midir is the only From boss that I would consider to be bullshit since Bed of Chaos. Now, it isn't quite that bad, don't get me wrong. At least some brain activity is required to take this guy down, but the definition of bullshit that I'm complaining about in this case is the ability to dodge any attack from melee range if you recognize the tell. Now, that is possible, but keeping that condition true involves so much bullshit that the only explanation is that they deliberately decided to make the last boss in the series a lot harder in a bad way. First thing about this boss is the size, both of the boss itself and the arena. I mean, it's so big, and the boss covers so much distance with his combos and his fucking hops that your only hope of doing damages to him is to sprint everywhere. While, of course, maintaining enough stamina to actually swing your sword, and doubly, of course, maintaining enough stamina to dodge his incoming attacks. You can dodge all of his physical attacks, no matter how shitty the hitboxes look. Which should be no problem, right? I mean, you made it this far. You gotta be good at Souls by now. He's just sort of a test of your patience. I mean, look at how heavily he punishes you for getting greedy. But his hitbox is so damn finicky. It's like sometimes you'll swing at his backwards ass dragon knee and you'll miss because his toes are so damn big. He loves spamming this one attack where he breathes fire straight down, which is impossible to dodge if you're right underneath him. I mean, obviously that's a hyperbole, but let me explain. For one thing, the radius of the AoE is too big to sprint away from. And 2, if you're underneath him, there's no way you can see the tell in time. You just have to kind of notice that if he hasn't done an attack in a while, you should probably be running. In order to actually see the windup for the attack, you have to be so far in front of him that you're probably already out of range of it. And to rub the salt in the wound, if you're in front of him, he can follow up with a laser that's like not easy to dodge. The only way I've found to dodge this attack is by sprinting directly into him. And the hitbox lingers so much that you can't even roll through it. Oh, and did I mention that it's a one-hit KO? But I digress. When he's sitting in his own fire, which he likes to do, you can't hit him except on the very tip of his tail, which isn't easy to hit. So there's a whole lot of really annoying waiting for an opening to attack in this fight. The best way I found is to just constantly be sprinting directly at his face. And of course, praying to God that he's not winding up for that stupid downward fiery thing that he loves to do so damn much. Because if you're even in like recovery frames from a roll or from a sword swing when he starts the wind up, you're already shit out of luck. You're going to take damage. Which, again, wouldn't be a big problem if it wasn't tanky as fuck. This thing has more health than Soul of Cinder, if you add up both phases, on New Game Plus 7. That's twice as much health as the Ancient Wyvern, and that was a gimmick boss. So Dark Eater Midir is hard to reach, hard to hit, hard to avoid, does a fuck ton of damage, and takes a fuck ton of damage. And all that malarkey together really keeps this fight from feeling rewarding or fun. Especially because at the end of the fight, you get this 3,000 point stagger and riposte, which feels anticlimactic. It's mostly just a slog. Contrast that with the final story boss of the DLC, Slave Knight Gale, who is probably the best boss fight in the whole game. I mean, I don't know, Probably. Like, I have a soft spot for Lothric and Lorien, but that's not important. If Midir is a combination of all the worst things that a Souls boss can do, then Gale is an amalgamation of all of the best things that Souls boss fights have to offer. Like, for one, all of his attacks are visibly telegraphed, and each tel has a different dodge timing and pattern, which I haven't learned yet. Each attack combo changes up depending on the phase of the fight. And in all my attempts of fighting him, I never noticed anything that I would call an infinite stamina combo, like some bosses I can mention. This is gonna take a while. You can, like, go to the bathroom or something. He keeps you on your toes at all distances. If you're very far away from Gale in Phase 1, you have to worry about this long-range stab, which you can avoid by rolling into him. Fuck. Into him. But if you make it to a second phase, he gets all new ranged abilities, like this boomerang spell, the goddamn Van Helsing crossbow, which will distract you long enough to forget that his goddamn boomerangs are coming back. And in the second phase, his sword swings are followed up by this cape swipe. So you gotta keep 2 different dodge timings in mind, or, you know, figure out how to dodge them both with one roll. It's hectic as fuck. Oh fuck, where are his boomerangs? Dodge the sword, watch the cape. Oh damn, it's 2-hit combo. Oh shit, why'd I get greedy? The only really minor bit of bullshit in this fight is that he can whip out his crossbow while you're drinking Estus, and there's nothing you can do about it. I mean, since I'm out of melee range, I know there's a possibility, but still. Mercifully, it doesn't do too much damage. And in the third phase, his combos all change up again. You never feel safe. It's like a combination of the epic duel with Artorias and the frantic clusterfuck of the Orphan of Kos fight. So for as little as I enjoyed the arguably more challenging fight in Dark Eater Midir, I think the Gale is the perfect capstone boss for this entire series. And I would definitely say that the Ringed City continues the Souls tradition of the DLCs being the best content in the game. You know, except for Ashes of Ariandel, that kinda sucked. I especially have to thank all of my patrons this month in particular, because the YouTube advertiser boycott has cut my ad revenue by like 90+%. I would really appreciate any type of support at all, especially because I'm working on long videos at the moment, which aren't likely to see any sort of benefit from AdSense. Thank you so much for everything.